He said that if I returned to the public park for giving haircuts, I would be arrested.
Valentina Butterfield walked into the Mango Park courtroom on a Saturday morning, which was unusual for her. Saturdays were normally reserved for something else entirely, something that had landed her here in the first place. The case was straightforward on paper, a $500 fine for violating business licensing laws. The city claimed she'd been operating outside the scope of her permit. What she'd actually been doing was cutting hair for free in the public park. Butterfield runs a salon called Bee's Vanity in Mango Park. She grew up in the city, raised by parents who took in foster children and taught her that giving back wasn't optional. It was just what you did. So on Saturdays, when the salon was closed, she'd set up in the park and offer free haircuts to anyone who needed one, homeless men and women. Kids whose parents couldn't afford a trip to the salon. Anyone, really. That's where Officer Kyle Jacobs found her. He imposed that fine on me, Butterfield explained to Judge Porter, and said that if I returned, I would be arrested. Judge Porter leaned forward slightly. I'm sorry. He said what now? He said that if I returned to the public park for giving haircuts, I would be arrested. The judge sat with that for a moment. Boy, oh boy, this Jacobs. Good grief. He asked her to explain the charge. According to the city, her business license didn't permit her to offer services in a public park. Technically accurate, perhaps, but the judge seemed less interested in the technicality and more interested in something else. These haircuts that you were performing in this public park, he said. Did you say something about who was eligible for these free haircuts? Maybe I missed that. Homeless men and women, she said, as well as children whose parents can't afford it. Are you there alone, or do you have people who help you with this project? It's just me, Judge Porter. He nodded. That meant she was spending her entire Saturday, every Saturday, doing this work alone. No team, no organization behind her, just a woman with clippers and a folding chair, showing up. When Officer Jacobs confronted her, she'd been given two options: pay the $500 fine or spend 10 days in jail. She stopped cutting hair that day. She has a son, George Porter, and she couldn't risk being locked up. Judge Porter was quiet for a moment. Then he said something that shifted the entire tone of the room. I know Officer Jacobs. I'm still with the Mango Park Police Department, and Officer Jacobs has worked for me as one of my subordinates in the past. He paused. I'm very disappointed in him for threatening to put you in jail and to issue a fine towards you when you're just trying your best to help the community with these free haircuts. He leaned back in his chair and started talking, not lecturing exactly, but thinking out loud, about how people get so focused on rules that they forget to consider the situation around them, about what a haircut actually means to someone who's been living on the street. Here's the thing that's very funny about helping homeless people get haircuts, he said. It makes them look better. And when you look better, you feel better. And when you feel better about yourself, you feel that you can do certain things. He talked about how one haircut can lead to new clothes from a secondhand store, which can lead to a job interview, which can lead to a first paycheck, which can lead to an apartment. Small steps building on each other, all because someone showed they cared. The right situation comes along, he said. All of us could be homeless. It's just that we've been very fortunate that we had a path that allowed us to avoid that. He circled back to Officer Jacobs. The word he used was discrepancy, the ability to recognize when the spirit of the law matters more than the letter. A good officer, he suggested, would have seen what Butterfield was doing and said, Ma'am, I understand your permit doesn't technically allow this, but we appreciate what you're doing. I'll let you slide. Butterfield spoke up. I have no issue paying the fine. I will pay it if you really deem that it's necessary. I just really don't believe that it's right. She paused. And I don't feel it would be right for me to also be placed in jail when I have a son that I have to take care of. I'm a single mother, and I just really want to give back to my community. Judge Porter's response was direct. I can't speak for other judges, but I can speak for myself, and what goes on in this courtroom. I am not in the business of punishing people who have taken it upon themselves to try to improve this community." He shook his head slightly. "Sorry. That's just not going to happen here." He dismissed the citation entirely. No fine, no penalty. He also mentioned he'd be having another conversation with Officer Jacobs about his approach to community policing. Butterfield thanked him, then she added, "You know what they say. No good deed goes unseen. Thank you for allowing me to continue to be a good role model for my son so that I could teach him the same values that my parents instilled in me." She walked out of the courtroom the same way she'd walked in, as someone who cuts hair for free on Saturdays. The only difference was that now she could keep doing it,